Here we go. Here we go, brownies. The kids cardiac, catch me in the Muni where the party at. Dog pound, turn up with the elf up on my starter cap. Brought him back, boy we from the land and we proud of that. Louder man, front to the back, here we go, I got him shouting that. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Game on the line, Joe Thomas, I promise. Jim Brown running through opponents, how I got this. I return like Josh Cripps, hand for the mini, got the dog pound jumping. Here we go, brownies. Here we go. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies. Here we go, brownies.
Cleveland, this is for you.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Here We Go Brownies podcast. I'm Allie Ellery, coming at you live from Pensacola, Florida. Joined with me and a couple of sharks, Dustin. Dustin, how's it going?
Hey, what a great night to be down here at the Greater Cleveland Aquarium, right next to the river down here next to Lady Caroline. By the way, I saw people getting ready to go out on their dinner cruise tonight, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, we are down here to celebrate the Greater Cleveland Aquarium, and as you can see, there's literally sharks behind me in the tank. If you've never been down here, it's a great experience for the family, the kids, the grandkids, or if you want to book a trip. That just freaks me out. Look at that, the big old shark just right behind me. But to come down and check it out. But it's a great time to come down here and enjoy it, especially in the summertime. And just real quick, I think we mentioned this also on last week's show, but first responders, also firefighters, policemen, military, starting Friday through the weekend, free to come down and partake in this as a thank you for giving your service and giving to our country. So that's really, really cool.
Really cool. Well, I wish that you were actually in the tank with a wetsuit. I think that would be just iconic, and I'm a little bit disappointed, but this is a really good close second. It is crazy to see the sharks literally swim over your head.
I will say this, that might be a little hard. I'm assuming there's technology where I could be mic'd up in a tank.
I'll figure out a way. Don't you get me wrong. I will figure out a way.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, so, lots happened in Cleveland. We always talk about this is the 2 or 3 weeks where we need to sometimes find more content, but we always say the Browns and Cleveland sports always give us content when we don't think we're going to get content. But we have lots to talk about on the show tonight. But Allie, if we want, why don't we just kick it over for a few minutes, talk about the aquarium, and Ray's going to join us here. So I'm going to step away. I'll let you talk for a few minutes. Next thing you'll see us in front of the Shark Tank, and he's going to talk about everything that's happening in July. So I'll let you take it away.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Get your other angle up and ready. Dustin's going to be, I'm going to go ahead and actually kick him off here because he is going to be joining us from his phone to show us a couple of different angles from the aquarium and talk with the curator there, Ray, to walk through and kind of just outline the aquarium, show you some really cool things. So we're going to give him just a few moments here. But as Dustin was mentioning, there's, not a lot to talk about sometimes, but the Browns always figure out a way to give us things, whether that's the new stadium. Last week, we didn't get the chance to talk about, well, because it didn't happen yet, but the release of Obo Okoronkwo. So we'll talk about that here in just a few moments, as well as the trade, the very surprising trade that went down between Miami and Pittsburgh that sent Mika Fitzpatrick to the Dolphins in exchange for Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey. I mean, really kind of unexpected. You don't really see a lot of those trades at this point in the season, at all. Really kind of amidst a lot of NBA news right now. So big surprise to hear and see that, but we'll get to that. But we're just waiting on Dustin. So let's get the show on the road, big dog, because I'm running out of things to talk about. And if he doesn't join us, I am going to bring David on we're just going to do that because I'm out of things to talk about, David, while we wait on Dustin.
I'm here. Hello.
This is not the medical moment yet. We're just going to chit chat while we wait for our guy Dustin to show up on his phone.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed that he's not actually going to be in the tank.
Would you do that?
Would I get in a Shark Tank?
Mm-hmm.
I think if there was like bars around me that the shark couldn't get through. But if it's just like open swimming with sharks, I'm not interested in that.
But like at the Greater Cleveland Aquarium, would you get in? Where the sharks, I mean, from what I've seen swimming above Dustin's head, they're not, great white sharks, but some little dogs. Would you do it?
I'd consider it.
I think I'd need a shot of alcohol before I do it, but I would consider it. I could peer pressured into it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never done it before. I think dolphins would be safer, maybe, and more fun, but sharks would be cool.
Okay. Well, I don't know where he went, so we might
Yeah.
just be moving right along, David, with with some Browns news and updates. Let's do that. Let's talk a
Yeah.
little bit about the trade that happened. As I was mentioning, just solo for a moment, that this was kind of an unexpected trade happening in the middle of the summer, where Minka Fitzpatrick is headed to Miami, back to Miami, in exchange for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith. I mean, what did you make of that?
I remember. I mean, as soon as we saw it break, we were texting about it, and it's so strange. I wasn't expecting it. I was surprised by it, and I don't quite understand it. I don't know what the benefit is for either team. I think at the end of the day, I think Pittsburgh probably got off a little bit on top with this trade because of the addition of Johnny Smith.
Yeah.
Just having another weapon at tight end who is a great pass catcher and really came into his own last season. Certainly, they already have a great tight end, Pat Fryermuth, and so I think part of it is their lack of depth at wide receiver. I mean, they don't
Mhm.
have a ton of options behind DK, and so obviously Aaron Rodgers needs someone to throw to. We know Aaron Rodgers likes throwing it to the tight end, so having two good options in there makes sense unless they have plans for Fryermuth, which I don't think
Yeah.
they would.
I don't
Um,
know. All right, David, I'm going to kick you off for a second. I'll bring you right back, but Dustin's ready to go. So
See
stay
ya.
tuned. David will be right back. Let's bring him on. Dustin's back. He's going to walk us around the aquarium.
So actually, we're going to go right in front of the tank here, and Ray's going to explain what's happening in July and what's the exciting things that are going on here at the Greater Cleveland Aquarium. So I'm going to kick it off to Ray.
Let's see it.
Hi, guys. Dustin, thanks for having us on today. Come down here. Really appreciate it. So you had mentioned we've got our first responders appreciation weekend this weekend. That rolls right into our FinFest, which is our entire month of July leading into the very beginning of August, from the Tuesday the 8th all the way to Tuesday the 5th in August. And we focus on sharks and stingrays. So they're the connected tissue that really gets everyone excited
Right.
coming to aquariums, especially this year with being the 50th anniversary of Jaws.
Well, that's true.
All the pop culture zeitgeist around it. You've got your Shark Weeks and things like that. We really kind of come in at that and latch on and drum up some extra attention for these amazing creatures. And so here at Greater Cleveland Aquarium, we've been open since January of 2013. And every year we've done Shark Week. We've done some form of Shark Week or FinFest. And as it's grown into FinFest, this whole big month-long thing, we've got a ton of activities going on. Anyone that comes in, this is all included. Everything I'm going to mention so far is all included in your normal ticket. Everyone that comes in, we've got activity books for the kids. We've got trivia posted all over the building in the different galleries as you walk through. We've got extra pop-ups by our mascot Finn on the weekends. Our dive team's going to be stepping up and doing shark and stingray-focused dive talks
Oh, wow.
right here in the exhibit, in the habitat. So a few minutes ago in the intro, you had mentioned there's got to be some technology for talking underwater.
Right.
We have that technology. So we've actually got our dive team. They've got these masks that have a microphone inside of them and earbuds that work underwater, and they'll come drop down here. We're going to be doing that 7 days a week at 1:30 in the afternoon, and they'll drop in. They'll be able to answer questions with the kids. It's great. They're right up there. We can take live Q&A, really fully interactive, and from in one of the coolest spots in the building. Then shortly after that, every day of the week at 3:30, we offer Stingray feed. So one of the
That's cool. Yeah.
it's free. It's part of the program. We'll give you a little cup of fish. You put the food in your hand, reach underwater.
Wow.
Our stingrays in the touch bowl swim over your hand and suck it up like a vacuum cleaner.
Wow. That's pretty. That's it.
Looks like we lost him. David, can you hear him? Did they go?
No, the screen's blank, and
Okay,
we
all
lost
right.
some audio too. Man, that was going really well too.
I
Which
know,
was
man.
fun to learn about the underwater microphone and AirPods and everything, and just there it went.
As I told you guys, David will be right back.
It's a live show, folks. It is a live
Thanks
show.
for just being on standby for us. This is just kind of how things go. Sometimes we're having some technical issues, but just stay tuned. For those of you that are just joining us, Dustin is live from the Shark Tank. He's at Greater Cleveland Aquarium. We were getting some information on Shark Week and what they do there. So hopefully we'll be able to learn some more once they come back. But if not, it was really cool to talk to him to begin with. But there you go. There you have it. What else you got, David? Anything
Well,
while we
just going back to the trade, I mean, what were your initial thoughts on that? I know we kind of got
Jason said he jumped in.
well, he was trying to give the people what they wanted. With the live experience.
Man, just going back to the trade, I was very surprised just at the timing. One, I'm curious, what is Pittsburgh doing? David, are they like saying, hey, we've got Aaron Rodgers for a year. We're going all in. We are going all in. We think that we're going to be able to do this. All right, let's hang on. Dustin's back.
Promise I didn't.
All right, we're back.
Okay, I promise I did not get ate by a shark. I promise.
Yeah, we're on the safe on the dry side. But, like the old Hollywood saying goes, working with kids and live animals, and that's what we're doing. So we're starting to talk a little bit about the stingray feeding and some of the programs
Correct.
we've got. One of the other fun ones is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 2:30, right in the middle of those other activities. We're feeding the sharks here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And for anyone who's never been to the building and never visited us, first off, shame on you. Visit. But we've got a 170-foot long sea tube that runs through this exhibit.
Correct.
So this habitat, all the animals are swimming over your head. It's a big clear acrylic tunnel. And about halfway down, we feed the sharks pretty much right over top of your head.
That's pretty cool.
They're as close as you and I are right now.
Right.
And it's this really neat targeted feed. So a lot of people come here and go, they're thinking like air jaws, like Shark Week crazy, feeding
Right.
frenzy. It's not that. It's a much calmer event because on the behind the scenes end of it, we've got staff in the water doing the feed and we're recording everything for animal health purposes. So with my department, the team that I supervise, we do all of the animal care. And so a big part of that is making sure we're keeping good records on what the animals eat, how often they eat, making sure they're getting their vitamins.
Right.
There's shark vitamins. We actually have shark vitamins, specially made vitamins just for sharks and stingrays.
Wow.
And so they record when they get their vitamins, how much food they get by gram, and it's all real detailed things. So look, that's a very, very slow conducted process, but it's really cool because these big sharks, which you've got coming up here in a minute, with the sand tigers, big gnarly mouthful of teeth, when they go to eat, they actually have this ability to extend their jaw. And so actually kind of reach out and grab the food.
Wow.
Like I said, that's right over top of your head, just a perfect view.
So we'll finish with this for a fun little quiz for everybody. What are the 4 different types of sharks that you have here at the Greater Cleveland Aquarium?
Good question. So sand tiger, that's the big one right there. That's our big girls.
Yep.
They're our largest ones. They're about 10 to 11 foot long. We've got our sandbars, which is that more sleek, gray, real like standard classic jet fightery shark.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got our nurse sharks, which I can best describe as oversized catfish. If you're looking at them, they've got
Okay.
that kind of body. They're actually benthic. They're not turtles. So a lot of times you find them laying in the back. In the water flows coming back to the filters, and it's like the shark version of us sitting in front of a fan.
Got it.
Now, that's the main 3 here. Our 4th species is the one most people miss. And to be honest, it's one of the ones that I forget during interviews like this half the time too. It's over in our coastal gallery in our silver screen habitat. So
Okay.
coming through, when you see our stingray touch pool, the biggest exhibit behind the touch pool with all the schooling silverfish in it, there's a little 3-foot long shark called a bamboo shark hanging out of the bottom.
Oh, nice.
Hardest one to find in the building.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you coming in and doing this for us. I know people will find this fun and educational and a lot of fun. Well, thanks a lot, Ray. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank
forward to
you.
having more people.
All right.
Go Browns.
Go Browns. All right, that was the Greater Cleveland Aquarium. And as we wait for Dustin to come back, David, I'm going to keep you on now. You're just part of the show at this point.
Here I am.
Here's a quick word from our friends over at Mr. Hero.
SOS, I could use a hero right about now. My faith in love is upside down. H-E-R-O, where will we all go? SOS, I could use a hero right about now.
Mr. Hero Heroes turning 60. We're proud to have served your favorite cravings for 60 years in celebrating what we do best. Thanks, Ohio.
I crave a hero.
I'm telling you, that's my favorite song. That is Mr. Hero. If you are not familiar, they are celebrating their 60th year of being in business. They have 104 Mr. Hero locations in Northeast Ohio, 19 locations with the drive-thru and 50 that offer curbside. So be sure to check them out. Get the app. They have a buy one, get one offer just for signing up. Great perks. You can order within the app. So please be sure to check them out over at Mr. Hero. Let's bring him back. Dustin.
I didn't get ate by a shark. I know when we had a little bit of that technical difficulty, you probably said, nope, the shark's got him.
We did. Yep, we did. That was the joke. That was the
I
joke.
did hear David was very disappointed that I wasn't physically in there with the sharks. I don't know if he wanted me to get bit or he just wanted that real live interaction. And by the way, if you heard, there's actually the technology to put me in there and do that, but we're not.
Oh, I heard. Not yet, anyways, but
Look at
maybe
David. He's
in
like
the
not
future.
saying.
Never say never. That's all I have to
Never say never.
Never say never.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. As we were mentioning, Dustin, while you were gone, we were talking about the trade. Steelers trade Minka Fitzpatrick back to the Dolphins in exchange for Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith. Just what I thought of it. We got David's perspective. I want to get yours here in a second, Dustin. But what I thought of it is I think the Steelers are trying to win now. I don't think that they will, but I think that that's their mindset in making this trade. I think the Steelers got better in getting Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith. I don't think it puts them over the top, certainly. And I don't think that Aaron Rodgers does either. But if you look at the moves that they've done and who they drafted, I mean, you go get Aaron Rodgers, you trade for DK, you make this big trade. You know, they've been going pretty young on the offensive line. They view their window as now. Probably the rest of the league would disagree with them, but internally you have to wonder if they're just going to try to put all their eggs in one basket this year and see if they can make a push. Dustin, what do you think?
Well, here's the thing. The Steelers are always the Steelers. I mean, this is the Steelers that would go 8-8, 9-8, 10-7 without Aaron Rodgers, not Jalen Ramsey. Like it bothers me because Mike Tomlin is notorious for getting the most with the least. And now he has some actual, I mean, he's got some weapons, you know. I mean, we're forgetting about, Metcalf's there too, you know. So I mean, he's got legitimate playmakers on both sides of the ball now. And I do think they're in a win now. And I almost, not to disagree with you a little bit, but I think they could be that team that comes out of nowhere and is sneaky good and, you know, gets 11 wins, gets in the playoffs. And I mean,
no, that's what I think that they will do. I'm just saying, I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but I think
I hate the Steelers, but I mean, why not? Why can't they be a Super Bowl contender? And the only reason I say that and is because of Aaron Rodgers. Because if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy and be the Aaron Rodgers of old, and by the way, I think he also knows this is his last swan song. This is it for him. That's why he said that's why he went on Pat McAfee and said I sold did a 1 year deal. I think he'll lay it all on the line, which I don't like that either, because if he does know this is his last year, what's stopping him from having a career year? Not much. I mean, other than, you know, their schedule, which is daunting, but we're all going to beat each other up in the AFC North. I mean, look, the Ravens are going to be loaded. The Bengals are loaded, except they got some weaknesses on defense. So, I mean, I'm assuming the odds changed in Vegas for the Super Bowl odds after all this happened. I don't know, but they are a sleeper Super Bowl team. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think they kind of are, just because, and it's because of their coach. If they were coached by anybody else, I'd say maybe not. But Mike Tomlin I never count that guy out.
I am, you know what? I'm surprised to hear you say that, because like 2 weeks ago, your hot take was that the Steelers have a losing record and Mike Tomlin gets fired. So just to add Jalen Ramsey to the equation, takes him over the edge that much is shocking.
Well, I thought they'd have a losing record, but I don't know. Like this team, I don't know. Like this is one of those teams that you're right. They could be 7-10. I'm not saying this couldn't be a 7-10 team, but the way this team is built and the coach, I hate that about them. right? That's what I hate about them, because we always, when we think the Steelers are going to suck, Allie, what happens? They make the playoffs again. And
I know. I'm
so,
just asking you, like, what changed so much? Is it Jalen Ramsey? Is it Jonnu Smith? Because literally 2 weeks ago, you said, hot take, Mike Tomlin's getting fired. First losing
well,
season.
I would say Ramsey brings a different component to them for sure. I mean, because now, you have that veteran on defense that's going to change some things up. But I don't know. I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I get. Now, again, this is also it's going to depend on the health of Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day. If he stays healthy and he's in there for all 17 games, that would be the asterisk, because, he hasn't been able to stay healthy here and there over the last few years. But if he stays healthy, yeah.
David, what do you think?
Well, I don't love their offense. I don't think the weapons are all there. They have DK, and then at wide receiver 2, they've got Robert Woods, who's 33 years old, and Calvin Austin, who was wide receiver 3 in Dallas, I think. So I mean, I don't think the weapons are there, but I mean, top to bottom, this roster is better than what the Jets had last year, and Aaron Rodgers had a very good season last year. I mean, he had almost 4,000 passing yards, almost 30 touchdowns with 11 interceptions. He had a very good season, and by all accounts, statistically, one of the better seasons in Jets quarterbacking history. And so, reproducing that productivity on this roster, I definitely think puts them in the winning column, on the winning side of the record. But I agree. I don't think that they have the Super Bowl caliber team right now. I mean, you traded a safety for a cornerback. You have veteran leadership from either of them on the backside, and you got a maybe faster, better passer catching tight end. So they're going to be running a lot of 12 personnel, I think, because they don't have wide receiver options. So Aaron Rodgers likes to throw the ball to tight ends. He's got 2 good ones. So I think they can probably pull off a winning season here, maybe sneak into the playoffs, but they're not going to win the division. And I don't think they're going to make it as far as the Super Bowl. But I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers, if he produces like he did last year, he can take this team to some distance.
Yeah, I do think this is where I'm agreeing with you, Dustin, just in the sense that, like, I think that they will be a surprise. I think that they certainly got better after this trade. I agree with you, David. I don't love the offense. What Arthur Smith wants to do is certainly different than what Aaron Rodgers has always done. I think they've got decent young running backs, especially in Jaylen Warren. He's very twitchy. He's athletic. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. But I still think that they're not in the same conversation as the Bills, even the Chiefs, or let alone the Ravens. And speaking of the Ravens, who unfortunately these 2 teams, the Steelers and the Ravens, are arch enemies, just always seem to make the right moves. They go out and they sign Jair Alexander, which is just a perfect fit for them. And we didn't get to talk about this last week, but man, it's like they just make the right moves all the time and somehow find a way to get better each offseason, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, Derrick Henry coming back. I mean, the Ravens are loaded.
Yeah,
and I think some would argue, I think they're better than the Chiefs in a lot of ways.
I think so.
From a personnel standpoint, I mean, the one X factor is Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, because he's the one that's proven he's gotten over the top every year. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably been the biggest disappointment for the Ravens is they've had all this talent for the last several years and have not been able to get to that last step in the playoff picture. And it'll be interesting to see. Like, I think this year and Allie, we've talked about this. Like, it's the whole Baker Mayfield effect. I mean, the AFC's tough. I mean, if you look at the top, I mean, there's 8 to 10 teams at any given year that can make the playoffs in this division, and maybe even 11, 12 in this conference. And you just don't have that on the other side in the NFC. I mean, if the Browns were in the NFC last year, they might have 5 or 6 wins instead of 3. It's like, it's just interesting how we unfortunately play in a very, very tough conference with a lot of, I mean, this is the era of great quarterbacks that all kind of came in together. Allen, Burrow. I mean, they're all here. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. I mean, and by the way, they're not 38, 30, 37 years old. They're going to be here for the next 5
they're all
to
in
10
their
years.
prime.
Yeah. So, it's unfortunate that we play in the division we do, and we're probably going to get into this at some point. So that's why I do like to see someone like hopefully Shador Sanders make it, with some development and actually finally figure it out that we can have a quarterback for 5, 7, 8 years on this roster.
That would be nice. Something
So
to
just
dream
to
about.
Yeah, Dustin brought up Super Bowl odds with the Steelers before and after that trade, and I just kind of looked for that a little bit because I was curious. Plus 3,500 before, plus 3,500 after,
Okay.
according
Really?
to, let's see, that was Clutch Points betting. FanDuel, went from plus 4,700 to plus 4,400, so slight increase there. But DraftKings stayed at 3,500, and the Dolphins stayed at 8,000. So overall, like Vegas and odds maker are looking at this as a clean swap. And so, kind of like we said, where did this benefit one team versus the other? Well, one team lost a decent tight end and signed Darren Waller, I don't know. Maybe it's more of a personnel chemistry locker room kind of situation than anything else, but we'll see what happens this year.
Yeah. Traded for Darren Waller, by the way. Isn't that just insane? Came out of retirement to go play for the Miami Dolphins. Just nuts.
Never heard of such a thing.
Not what I expected. Well, Dustin, I was saying when you were getting ready to show the tank, we were just talking about that trade, and I said, wow, it's just such odd timing. Right now, this is a lot of NBA stuff that we're seeing, NBA free agency. My phone's blowing up from Shams with all of these NBA updates. I did not expect to see Darren Waller traded to the Miami Dolphins. I was just that one stopped me in my tracks for a moment. Before we move on, a quick word from our friends over at Stadium Mustard. Guys, if you don't have Stadium Mustard in your kitchen this season, you are doing it wrong. The iconic brand, the iconic taste, full of from ballparks to backyards and everywhere in between. Stadium Mustard is a smooth brown mustard rich in both taste and tradition. By the way, loved by millions, so be sure to head on over to stadiummustard.com to shop now. Also, if you want to get your official Here We Go Brownies podcast hat, shirt, sweatshirt, you can head on over to We Bleed Ohio Apparel, or you can get some Cleveland football, basketball, baseball themed apparel
Sunday
there.
Fun
Also.
Day, look at that.
Sunday
Sunday
Fun
Fun
Day,
Day.
look at that. Yeah.
It's interesting. Do we want to go into stadium talk, or where do you want to go next?
I want to hang on just a second. I want to talk real quick about the roster moves that were made. Obo Okoronkwo has been released from the team. Yeah. That happened literally just after we got off the show last week.
Yes, it did.
So I want to just kind of go around the room here and kind of just discuss our thoughts and what we think this means. Dustin, I'll start with you. What were your thoughts when you saw this, and what do you think that this means for the rest of the roster, for the defense?
It tells me the Browns have some confidence in some of those other guys on the roster from a depth standpoint. Because how long did we have Obo here? He was here a hot minute, so
last year.
Yeah, but they didn't. I don't know. I liked him. I thought he was a good player.
Sure.
So I think there was a surprise for me there, but it just tells me they have some confidence from some guys that are in the room.
Who do you think is going to be the guy then? Who steps up? There's some options there. What do you think this looks like?
Who are my options in that space that would be able to step up roster?
Who are the options? Well, yeah. You've got Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, you've got Isaiah McGuire, Alex Wright.
Probably between McGuire and Wright, if I had to guess, and if I had to lean towards one of them, I'd say Alex Wright in that situation.
Okay, why do you say that?
I just think at times he looked good last year, and I think that this could give him an opportunity to get in there and get more reps.
Minimally last year,
right.
And the reason what?
No, I was just going to say, but when he had some opportunities, he at least was able to fill that. So I think this may give him an opportunity to show what he can produce.
Okay. David, what do you think?
It's tough because we don't get to see a lot of camp film. We don't get to see a lot of what's going on right now, especially after those guys leave. But I'm actually, I know you brought up those two. I'm pretty intrigued and excited by Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. A little bit more time in the league. And those two guys, he's in the league since 2021. Overall has pretty good numbers and just shows that he is a good depth player, a good role player, but maybe could elevate to become a starter. He's got 15 sacks total in his career, and I know, certainly these guys are edge rushers, and so their job is to get after the quarterback. So I mean, in four seasons, he's got 15 sacks, 138 total tackles. I think just his experience might kind of propel him forward.
Mhm.
But I'm going to be very curious to see how that battle goes once camp really gets going and see where it's going to be.
Yeah, and I think you really had to have liked Tryon Shoyinka, sorry, during this time just to get rid of Okoronkwo, because I mean you had a lot of upside in Obo, and to see him go, I mean, Dustin, to your point, yes, I do think that they have to have a lot of, they have to have a lot of faith in both Isaiah McGuire and Alex Wright. But I mean, Alex Wright didn't play a lot last year. And
Right.
I mean, he had the tricep issue. He's kind of on a prove it kind of situation. Now, Isaiah McGuire, who I do like a lot, I think he's more athletic. He's got more versatility. But as Angel says here, pass rush only. A lot of these guys are going to be true pass rushers. Isaiah McGuire, I think he's got some other skills that he can develop in terms of his versatility and what he can do on the defensive line. But really, I mean, I think where a lot of this is going to come is through the interior of the defensive line. They've put a ton of assets into that. I mean, we know that they obviously just drafted Mason Graham. They drafted Mike Hall Jr. last year. They've made some moves in the interior, and I think that's going to be a huge element in what they want to do defensively. For this season. I think that that's going to be the goal. But I was surprised to see them terminate the contract. It's just, to me, that kind of came out of nowhere. Just not at all what I expected to see.
Yeah, and I was going to say, some of the things that have been said at camp is Holly's looked really good. Our friend of the program has looked as well, and they see him also as could be a very serviceable backup. He's had a really good camp so far, and that's not even with the pads on. So, yeah, I mean, it is interesting because I don't think you would have seen players like this released this soon last year or years past, get released before even, the pads or camp, these would be drops. I think you'd see more like third week of the preseason type of things. So It is interesting to see him go so soon.
Yeah, definitely. Dustin, I'm going to turn it over to you real quick, if you don't mind telling our listeners about Primetime Sports.
That's right, guys. Primetime Sports. Speaking of Primetime Sports, we were able to enjoy some Mr. Heroes last night. Primetime Sports is over in, of course, the Belden Village, the Greater Northern Mall, and of course they have their frame shop where you can get any of their stuff framed. There's a couple Ohio State Buckeyes that'll be coming there as well on July 12th. So there'll be some fun stuff happening and some more Guardians players that'll be announced soon. But look for those signings. Lots of stuff happening. But it was kind of fun. Just so you know, Allie, they do whatnots now, where you can literally go in and bid on whatever you want from David. You can get some amazing Notre Dame stuff, but any team you can imagine, not only Browns and stuff, but they do a whatnot live auction every single night where you can go in and deplete your bank account to go find all the cool things you want that are from all different players. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. Cool. All right, let's talk medical with David, but real quick, a word from our friends over at Lorello Vineyards.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
Hello, welcome to Lorello Vineyards, Larry and Kim Lorello. We have a beautiful Here We Go Brownies wine that we would like to offer to you this season as we did last season. We have several other award-winning wines, lovely entertainment and events coming this summer. So come and see us, wine a bit, you'll feel better.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Muni lot this fall. Go Browns.
All right, David, what do you got for us tonight?
Well, yeah, as you said, not a ton happening and really no new injuries to report during this week of the offseason, which is definitely good news. It's kind of funny, though, if you look for like injury report or search for that right now, there is a little bit of an official report that came out on last Friday, the 27th, and all 5 of these players are listed as questionable for week 1 versus Cincinnati. It just makes me laugh because, we're 2 months away from that still. But so it's more or less like it serves as a nice refresher for maybe some of the more serious injuries or lingering issues from last season. We talked about it last week with Mike Hall Jr. We know he had the MCL injury and had surgery for it in the offseason. We anticipate he should be back to playing week 1, but maybe more on a kind of a snap count for the first couple weeks. Other kind of reminders include Shelby Harris, a defensive tackle. I think it was in week 16 or 17, injured his elbow, kind of had a hyperextension injury, and ended up effectively being placed on the IR and ending his season early. I think it was just more of like a sprain. There really wasn't any serious injury that was reported, nothing that was disclosed needing surgery. So I imagine that this is more just a carryover from the end of last season and shouldn't be an issue moving forward. As we all know, Deshaun Watson with his Achilles, he's on this list. We'll see where that ends up. Like we said, with the re-tear and the second surgery, I wouldn't expect him to be ready for the season opener or even really until halfway through the season, if not later. But we'll see ultimately what his recovery looks like. David Bell at wide receiver. He had a hip injury. He sustained this closer towards the end of the year, I think maybe the middle to second half. He dislocated his hip. And so pretty severe injury.
Right, yeah.
We know that in college, Tua actually sustained this injury as well. And so he needed surgery for it, whether it was because of a fracture that needed to be fixed or just a big tear in the ligaments or the capsule that holds the hip in place. He had to have surgery for that. So, I would expect that he should be ready to go just because that was not at the end of the season. And if it was a bony injury, especially, we know those heal a little bit quicker and he should be able to get back to it. No real updates in terms of his progress that I've seen, but overall, he is officially listed as questionable. And then finally, Luke Whippler. He broke his ankle early on. I think it was even in preseason last year and had surgery to fix it. He should be good to go. I mean, even at this point, there should be nothing holding him back, no issues there. Because we even talked about potentially he could have made a return in the playoffs if need be. Obviously, at that time, he wasn't going to be needed, but he should have no issues being ready for camp and for week 1 as well. So really the only question marks are the ones to really pay attention to are obviously Deshaun, Mike Hall Jr., just looking at maybe a snap count, and then I would say David Bell just because that's a pretty big severe injury. But hopefully we see the 4 out of those 5 players ready to go for week 1.
Yeah. And I mean, we completely expect this list to be different come week 1, obviously with things that can happen during training camp and these guys just getting hopefully healthy leading up to it. So it's more or less just kind of a refresher of where we left off last season and, some of those injuries. So I'm glad that there's nothing else really crazy on there right now. I mean, I'm glad, David, that you don't have a lot to talk about. That's ultimately a good thing.
Yes, it is. I agree.
It is. Let's kind of just shift here to really the most relevant news. And Dustin, I know you're excited to talk about this. This is the new stadium situation. Take it away.
Yeah, the stadium. Well, 2 parts to this. So a lot happened in Cleveland sports announcements. So quick shout out that the WNBA was awarded a brand new team. That became official.
Yes.
It's the Cleveland. Most people assume it will be the Cleveland Rockers, so it'll play here in downtown.
But we don't know that yet officially, but we're hopeful.
Yeah, but the name they put in for official rights or whatever was Cleveland Rockers, which I think based on what the city, it probably would make sense to bring back that name. I mean, you've already marketed that for years, helps with marketing to just keep the name and it's fun. And then Sophie, a player from the Fever, I don't know if you caught that as well, said, I don't know why people would want to, be excited about going to play in Detroit or Cincinnati. She didn't get the city right, but then she meant Cleveland, of course. But no, I think the fans will be excited to have the Rockers back. I think they were sad that they left when that franchise left, but it'd be exciting to have that. And then literally later that night, Governor DeWine signs, seals, delivers the news that the Browns have received their $600 million for the Dome in Brook Park. That will start playing their games in 2029 out there. There's a lot of debate. Will that affect downtown or not? I'm on the side of that it will not, because obviously with the Rockers and the soccer team and a lot of other things happening downtown, it's only 8 games a year at the end of the day, that are actually down here for that. So I think there'll be a lot of things that'll offset that over the next 5 years in downtown Cleveland. But it's going to be a big economic boom for the area in general. When you infuse $3 billion of a new facility, construction jobs alone, and then what that will mean for Allie, we talk about this all the time. You travel for work, the conventions, the Final Four, the Super Bowl, the different things that can come to the city of Cleveland. They just announced today that Cleveland's putting in for the Special Olympics in 2030. Just all those different things that come with that, and the economic boost that can make for a region. Like, of course, you lived in this region. You grew up in the Canton area, so you know what that means to an area when you infuse that kind of money into to an area at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
and as we all know, this is the trend in the National Football League. There's no doubt about it. Owners want the land, they want the parking. He's already nicknamed it Brownstown out there. So it's like, Jerry's got his world. These owners want, this is going to happen in Pittsburgh. It's going to happen in Washington, D.C. It's eventually going to happen in Kansas City. This is just the new NFL. And I know a lot of the Dome, but a lot of these places are going to be indoor facilities.
It's a polarizing conversation. You're either on one side of it or the other. Truly, I mean, most people are either completely 100% all for the Dome, and other people are like, nope, this is egregious. So you're one or the other. But I think one thing that you can't deny is just what this will do for the city. And I think that we are, as we get into the next really 10, 20 years of the National Football League, I would expect almost all stadiums to be indoors, or all fields to be indoors. I think that will be the norm. And it'll be the standard. I mean, it neutralizes everything, and hopefully will eliminate some injuries. Just makes for a better experience. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see every NFL team required eventually to be indoors. I wouldn't be surprised. So,
well, and I want to add to that. If you look at the renderings of this stadium, it will have what's called a fan wall, which will be basically the dog pound. And this is a big deal in soccer, where it's very deafening. The Haslams talked about this when they did their big, huge dog and pony press show for this, that, it can be very intimidating for if you have a loud house and you build something like that. So these are going to be the closest seats in row one all the way to the top. So I think this will also create a fan experience with the fans, as rabid as they are and as passionate as they are, to be in a deafening situation. I mean, people talk about going and playing the Vikings and some of these other teams. You can't hear inside those domes. I mean, it is deafening, and the quarterbacks are literally like this because they can. It's like a turbine jet engine in there. You cannot hear, and so I think this will create a very interesting fan experience, and I think it'll be a great fan experience at the end of the day. I know Allie is not a fan of the cold, so this will be like music to your ears.
Yeah, I would much prefer to be warm, be room temperature, if you will, and not, below 20 degrees in December. That's not for me. But that's also the only reason that I am not an NFL player. That is the only reason. Otherwise, I'd be a running back for the Browns.
I know.
Clearly. So I don't know. I think, like I said, this is a pretty polarizing conversation. I mean, David, what do you make of this? Obviously, Detroit, they play in a dome. Talk about that experience. We've been to a game there. It was deafening. It's crazy. That was pretty much a playoff environment. I mean, just talk about your experience a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that's since I've been going to football games. Detroit's been in a dome, whether it was in Pontiac or downtown now, and that's just what I knew as a Detroit fan growing up, and I don't think it takes away from the experience at all. And as you said, kind of adds to it because you don't have to deal with the elements, so you can be a little bit more prepared in terms of like what to bring, what to pack, how to dress. And you're right. I mean, it gets loud. I mean, we were there obviously at a time where Lions were making a push for the playoffs. It was against the Broncos. Russell Wilson was in town. Like, it was an awesome environment. But it was like a playoff environment, and it was week 13. It was Thanksgiving, so it was pretty early on in the season. And so I think the Dome is a great experience, especially in northern cities, northern environments. And I think, location, well, sure, we all wish it were, in the city that the team is named after. I think this is an awesome opportunity. I think not only for fans, as we've talked about, but for players and families too. I mean, it is so vitally important that players feel respected, looked after, cared for. And the Browns have been pretty low on some of those surveys in terms of like what the amenities offer for players and their families. I mean, I was listening to a podcast this morning. They were talking about how for Browns after games, like the families, they have a meeting point in like the north parking lot, and it's a tent, and sometimes it's heated, and there's like some pizza. And then you talk about other teams, and they get to go meet in this like big complex attached to the stadium, and it's heated. There's comfortable seating. There's full like catering. And the players can go there and mingle with families in a much more comfortable environment, not in a parking lot when you're crossing the street. So just from that standpoint, I think it makes it much more appealing for players. It shows that the Haslams are invested in this team and this community in terms of what they want to offer and bring to the table. And I think it's going to make for an awesome experience all the way around for Browns fans, players, employees, everybody. So I don't think it detracts from anything. And I know that there's the purists, if you will. But ultimately, like, it's 2025. We have the technology to do it, and it's going to be awesome, I think.
Yeah. All right, let's just real quick. I want to tell you quickly about our friends over at True Fan Travel. True Fan Travel, think of them as your ultimate sports road trip buddy. They're all about bringing you closer to the heart-pounding action of your favorite away games. Whether you're cheering from the stands, soaking in the local vibes, they make sure that every trip is packed with those I was there moments. Grab your gear, make some memories with True Fan Travel.
Hey, I was just going to add real quick to that. Interesting, just to Jason's comment there. There is the technology when you do have a dome, do have a natural grass field. The Arizona Cardinals, of course, play on natural grass because they grow it outside and then they roll it in, and you've got grass on game day. So, and to your point, the good doctor, with some of these injuries and turf, I think a lot of these teams may, opt to have grass in the dome as we look at injuries and stuff like that. So, Jason, to your point, they actually can play on natural grass, and there is some examples of that already in the National Football League.
Look, I see both sides of the argument. I mean, I can see how, those that really don't want the dome, they're saying the elements are part of football. This is how it's supposed to be. I see it. And I agree with you. But those that are pro dome, being comfortable, what we just talked about, families being, more involved. I get it, and I agree with them. So I don't want to say I'm neutral here, but I do see both sides of the argument. I understand why this is a polarizing situation. So I ultimately do think that this is a good thing for the city, but over the next 2 years, while this kind of unfolds, just enjoy Cleveland for now. Enjoy these games for now.
And if we're being completely transparent, when it comes to attracting free agents and players to play in certain places, I mean that's probably the biggest thing when you're talking to hey, do you want to go play in a 35-year-old stadium that from November on is not the best conditions? And it's funny that we had John Wooten on, and he said it was very interesting for the 64th NFL championship game. The one thing Jim Brown didn't want was bad weather, so each team could show how great their athletes were. And when you have a field like that, you can, right? And you actually get a better quality product. At the end of the day, when it comes to a game, too, from an entertainment standpoint, it's not, you get the best out of both teams. So
yeah, totally. Guys, whether you are trying to figure out what to eat for lunch or dinner, or maybe if you are having an event catered, head on over to City Barbecue. They have award-winning meats, sauces, and sides. They do it right. They'll take care of you. And by the way, they're really nice people. So please support them over at City Barbecue. Dustin, real quick, if you don't mind telling our listeners about Lake Erie Distillery.
Yeah, guys, Lake Erie Distillery, if you haven't had it, it's amazing. You can check them out at their bottle distillery out in Willoughby, Ohio. They're open from 1 to 5 out there, so you can pick up a bottle of some great beverages out there. If it's whiskey, if it's rum, they have the Burning River cinnamon whiskey, which is amazing. They have the dill pickle vodka, which is #1 in the state of Ohio. But if you can't make it out to Willoughby, check at one of your local Northeast Ohio liquor stores and pick some up, or ask for it at a bar or restaurant near you for some of their great flavors.
There you go. All right, we're going to wrap up the show with a little game. It's basically where I'm going to moderate. I'm not playing. It's between Dustin, who is a lifelong Browns fan, and David, who is a recent Browns fan. And it's kind of like 3 clues. So I'm going to give you 3 clues. and you have to try to guess the player. So you'll be competing against each other. So basically, I'll kick it off by giving you, and you're competing currently against the same player, and whoever has the most at the end of the show obviously wins. So who's going to do it? The lifelong Browns fan or the current Browns?
That's
Browns fan. So
terrible.
you have to, basically, I'm giving you clues. You have to guess the current Browns player. So what I will start with is whether they play on offense, defense, or special teams. From there, I'll tell you what school they went to. And then from there, if you still don't have it, I'll tell you their position. Sorry about the dogs. Sorry if you can hear them. David,
By
real
the way,
quick, if you want,
tonight we've had cats, dogs, and sharks.
That's a zoo on here. David, if you want to throw them either outside or you go outside, that's fine. So Dustin, you got the rules? You good on this?
3 clues, including what university they went to, and 2 others. So yeah.
So basically, I will give you the first clue about player 1, and then you make a guess after clue 1, and then so on and so forth.
Okay.
So, all right, David, are you good? You got it?
Nuts. They're nuts.
They're nuts.
I'm back. I'm ready. That was crazy.
All right. All right, we are going to kick it off with your first player, and your first clue is this player is an offensive player. Dustin, take it away. Who do you think it is?
Offensive player,
Mm-hmm.
Joel Petonio.
Incorrect. David, any guesses? David.
Sorry, it froze a little bit. Okay. Offensive player. I'm going to go Deontay Johnson.
It is not. Your next guest, this player went to the Ohio State University. Dustin.
DeJuan Jones.
Nope. David.
Luke Whippler.
Incorrect. All right,
my
Dustin. Dustin, you get the position.
Man.
This should be an easy one for you. This player is a running back.
Judkins.
It is Quinshawn Judkins. All right.
Luna's favorite player.
Dustin gets the first point. All right. Next up.
By the way, are these just real quick? Are these active? Are these
They're all
starters?
active, yes.
Okay. I mean, they're not like third string.
No. You know
Okay,
all of these
fair enough.
players.
Fair enough. Okay.
All right. Next up on the list, we are going to go with this is a defensive player.
Defensive player. And does David go first or I go first? this time?
David. Yes. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry for
go
that.
for it.
Grant Delpit.
It is Grant Delpit.
Okay. That is beginner's luck on all.
Dustin, I got to tell you, so we do this almost nightly in our house, but it's a little bit more in detail and depth. We do it. It's our NFL trivia. We got a whiteboard in the pantry. We go in there. We have 14 categories, and we do a random number generator, and lands on number 5. Okay, what is this player's annual average salary? And then you have to guess. All right. Next is this player's Madden
middle
rating
name?
on Madden 25.
Yeah, Madden rating.
What's his middle name? What college did he go to? And we go through this until we can correctly guess it. And there are times where I think one of the most memorable ones was I somehow guessed Drew Tranquil off of his hometown, something crazy like that. And it happens more often than I think Allie would like to admit that I guess on the first or second clue, just throwing darts and I get lucky, and she gets so mad at me.
Oh, I get so mad.
Well, but that's
All the
also probably a pretty good game to help memory guess and
it keeps us.
I mean, for keeping players fresh in your head so you kind of know who is who.
Oh yeah, it's a ton of fun.
All right, next player. And Jason, just so you know, I just blocked her. I saw those comments, so you should. All right. Next up, this player, and Dustin, you'll be the one to guess here. This is an offensive player.
Offensive player. I'm going to Jack Conklin.
It is not Jack Conklin. David.
David Njoku.
It is not David Njoku. Your next hint, Dustin. This player went to Tennessee.
I know I can't think of his name. I'm thinking of the running back, and I can't think of his name right now, and it's killing me.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to pass. I can't. I'm drunk.
well, that player did go to Tennessee, but I'm going to go the other direction with Cedric Tillman.
It's not Cedric Tillman.
Come on.
Oh, this is killing me.
All right. Well,
So, Dustin, I'm going to give it to you because by default, you got it. It's Dylan Sampson. It is Dylan Sampson.
I mean, what's that?
It's Dylan Sampson. You got it.
Okay, I guess I was like, yeah. So I guess that's like a point and a half. Yeah, it's like a point and a half.
It's maybe half a point.
Okay,
but
I
yes,
can see.
we'll
I can
give it
see
to you.
David's. I see David's competitiveness is definitely wore off on you. I can see he does not want to lose to me. I can just see it in his face. Go on.
All right, David. This player is a defensive player.
all right. I'm going to go with Jerome Baker.
It is not Jerome Baker. Dustin.
Denzel Ward.
It is not Denzel Ward. This player, David, went to the Ohio State University.
Ronnie Hickman.
It is Ronnie Hickman.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I'll tie
All
up
right.
Dustin.
All tied up. All tied up. All right. Next up on the list, this player is a defensive player. I forget who's up here. It's
Dustin's
David.
up.
Yeah, I have to
It is
guess.
a defensive player.
And we're dealing with starters. You know
One
what?
and deuce.
Yeah,
What's
ones
that?
and twos. Ones and twos.
All right. You know what? I'm going to go with. We're dealing with animals. Let's add dinosaurs. Let's go with Miles Garrett.
It is not Miles Garrett. David.
Let's go with Diabate.
It is not Mumad Diabate. All right, Dustin. This player went to the University of Michigan.
Oh, haha, Graham.
It is not Mason Graham.
Oh,
Devin
David.
Bush.
It is
Devin
Devin
Bush.
Bush.
dang it.
It is Devin Bush.
This is a good game. This is a good game. We should do
All
this
right.
like
So are we tied right now, or what's the
no.
deal?
David's up by one.
David's up by
3-2.
one. All right. Well, I have one more for you, unless Dustin gets this one, and then we'll do a tiebreaker. But one more for you here. This player is a defensive player.
And it's David's guess this turn.
Yes, David, you start.
I'm gonna go with Shelby Harris.
It is not Shelby Harris. Dustin.
I'm gonna go back to my Denzel Ward. I'm going with Denzel Ward.
It's not Denzel Ward. All right, David. This player went to UAB.
UAB.
Mm-hmm.
The most random school. UAB is pretty random, George.
It is.
Gosh,
Oh, I know who this is.
I got two in my brain. I don't know which one to go with here. I'm gonna go with Isaiah McGuire.
It is not Isaiah McGuire. Dustin. And also, you can't be looking anything up. I'm watching both of you, and Dustin's eyes are down right now.
No,
Get your eyes up here.
No, I'm thinking. You're both.
Okay.
You think we're both cheating? Hello.
Yeah, think with your eyes up here.
University of Alabama, Birmingham. Defense, right?
It's defense, yes.
I know it's not Martin Emerson.
Nope, it's not.
Who went to UAB? I can picture this. Starter. Defense. I'm drawing a blank. You might have to
Alright.
pass. You might have to do another one.
All right, David. The next clue here is this is a defensive end.
Ooh.
All right, so not Isaiah, not Miles. I'm Right. Joe Triangle. I'm gonna go with. Oh boy, this is for everything. I can win it
Ooh.
right here.
You could.
Well, Alex Wright.
It's Alex Wright.
Yes.
Good job. Good job, guys. That was a lot of fun. And we will end with this.
SOS, I could use a hero right about now. My faith in love is upside down. H-E-R-O, where do we all go? SOS, I could use a hero right about now. My faith in love is upside down. H-E-R-O, I crave a hero.
All right, guys. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up on a beautiful Wednesday evening?
That game was tougher than I thought it would be. Like that was a fun, entertaining game. That was tougher than I thought it was going to be. UAB pulled a UAB out of nowhere.
Yes. I was
We do it every
very
night.
excited to moderate that. A lot of fun. Really cool, Dustin, that you were able to join us from Greater Cleveland Aquarium.
Yes. And by the way, guys, look for this after the show. We're going to post a way that you have to win this. You have to go through some steps or whatever, but it is an annual pass for a family. So this will be a lot of fun. So look forward to that. But that'll be, you're going to have to watch the show, pick up on some clues from around the Shark Tank. So look for that coming up with a post for a giveaway.
Sounds good. All right, there you have it, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, Browns fans, go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.